And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Abner Green, who writes, "Hey, John and Rob. With the Delta variant running around, a lot of people have been saying that Disney was going to move Shang-Chi to Disney+. Wondering if you saw that Bob Chapek just confirmed that they're keeping it as a theatrical exclusive. Do you think this is a good move on their part? Really can't wait for this movie. Thanks." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Abner. And yes, there has been, there were a lot of people speculating that Shang-Chi was going to move to Disney Plus as well. Now, of course, anything could happen. But one of the things that we've been saying for a long time is that they announced a long time ago this thing was going to be theatrical only. There was no indication at all that they were ever really considering moving it anyway, and that it was just going to come out as planned. And now, sure enough, they have said, and by the way, our friends Jew and Leonardo Uria, that's Jew, J-U, and Leandro Urina both send in super chat badges and live chat. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. But they have now confirmed that, nope, we are sticking with it as a theatrical release only. This comes to us from the folks over at Screen Rant who write, "With Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings scheduled to hit theaters on September 3rd, the movie is gearing up for release. However, there's been speculation about whether Shang-Chi will head to Disney Plus Premier Access for a hybrid theatrical and streaming release, but today Disney confirmed Shang-Chi will release only in movie theaters on September 3rd. Now, one of the things that should be pointed out here a little bit is the fact that during an investor call, one of the things Bob Chapek brought up was, at this point, even if we wanted to make the shift to a Disney Plus concurrent with theatrical, we really couldn't because it's too late to do that. And that's not true at all. It really isn't true. I double checked with one or two people, and it's like, that's not true at all. They totally, if they had wanted to, say 3 days ago, made the move of moving Shang-Chi to both Disney Plus and theatrical, there was enough room there for them to do it. But it's just, they had always intended for this to be a theatrical thing. Now, the other thing that Bob Chapek brought up, which is really interesting, he brought up the fact that he said, we are in an interesting position right now. He said, because now with this new 45-day theatrical window, they said, this is going to be our first film, our first theatrical only film with this new model, this new 45-day window. And we are very interested to see what's going to happen with that. So they're going to use this as also as a little bit of a data gathering kind of thing, much like they did when they were first testing out the Disney Premium Access thing. They need to test this out. They need to put that out there and all that kind of stuff. Now, how does this bode for Shang-Chi? I think great. I mean, obviously it's going to make more money being a theatrical exclusive than otherwise, but how much more? Will it make a lot? Will it not make a lot? I mean, that's still way up in the air. There's still a lot of other factors to consider, but I think this is a good move. I'm glad it's staying theatrical only. I'm going to the premiere on Monday, so I'm very excited. True story. I'm actually going to see Shang-Chi 3 times before it opens. I'm going to go see it at the premiere on Monday, then I'm going to a press screening on Wednesday, and then I'm going to see it at CinemaCon in Vegas, which, Aaron, you're going to see it at CinemaCon in Vegas as well. So we are very, very excited about that, but I think it's a good move. Anyway, Aaron, you're hearing now that they're saying, no. The plan was that Shang-Chi is staying in theaters. What do you think about that move?
I think it's a great move. I mean, honestly, if I have a choice between going and seeing a movie in the theater and sitting my lazy butt on my couch in my pajamas and watching it, I'm going to be lazy butt 10 times, out of 10. That's just me because I'm a little lazy. So, but I feel like I'm not alone in that. And at a certain point, there's going to have to be this, this equilibrium that we reach where the movie theaters take the risk of going, okay, we might not have as many people see our movie as possible. Well, we're going to really have to say we're only releasing this in theaters. And so if you want to see this movie before the next, 2 months go by, the only way for you to see it is to see it in theaters. And I think that's why we're also seeing movie theaters trying to make people feel more safe. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what their numbers are at the end of the day from this 45-day window. I'm excited. I also believe in filmmakers understanding what their movie is and understanding, hey, this is a movie that really needs to be seen on the big screen to be appreciated. I mean, in the same way that I always go back to 1918, the movie 1918.
Oh, 1917.
1917.
1970. Oh my gosh. I'm like World War I. Aaron, get with the program. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. Yes, 1917. That is a movie that it would have been an absolute. It just would have been devastating for it to only have a release on streaming or to have their audience in the theaters cut and only be seeing it on streaming. So I have a feeling with Shang-Chi, they're seeing a similar thing. Like, no, this movie is of a cinematic scope. This movie is not a story that we want told just on the small screen. We want people to have the opportunity to see it first on the big screen. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to see it in Vegas, obviously at CinemaCon, but I'm also thrilled for them. I'm also curious how this is going to affect what's going on with Scarlett, which we're going to talk about next. So I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if you think that's going to have any bearing on what's happening with Scarlett and Disney.
I don't really think it's going to have any impact at all on this one way or the other on the situation there, because again, it would have been different if this was a movie that had planned to be a cinematic and Disney Plus release. But since it wasn't and they just decided to stay the course with one, I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but we are going to talk about that more in just a minute, of course. Rob, you can't see Shang-Chi in Vegas with me this year because you were busy. You got things going on. But
wait, that wasn't your first choice?
Oh, Aaron, you weren't even my fourth choice.
You're always his first choice.
I asked like 7, 8, 9, 10 other people.
I'm actually not surprised by that at all. That's why I was so shocked when I got the invite.
You're totally my second person that I invited after Rob backed out. And by the way, Jew sent in a super chat badge in the live chat. Thank you, man. But Rob, honestly, we see this. Not surprising that Disney is sticking with the plan here, but still interesting nonetheless. What do you think about their move now confirming that it's going to stick as a theatrical exclusive only? And how do you think this is going to shake out?
They probably looked at Simulu's contract and they're like, yeah, when we signed him, it was theatrical only. No, I think, look, as far as I know, it was always going to be theatrical only. They wanted to keep it that way. I think it's probably smart. Although, it really depends on where. I don't think they're necessarily away. They might, if they have to move it, they will. We're getting a little close before they can move it, but I think people have to do what they have to do. I just wouldn't release a blockbuster this year now. I think that what's going to happen is Shang-Chi is already the movie that Shang-Chi and the Eternals are both brand new films. I mean, they talked about Iron Man being a lesser character in the MCU back in 2008. But Shang-Chi and the Eternals are way lesser than Iron Man. So they really need to win over even the most diehard of MCU audience members. And I think that it's going to be a tough sell for Shang-Chi. As good as that movie looks to me, it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like the martial arts are great. I can't believe all the stuff they're packing into it. I can't wait to see it because I've always loved that character since I was a kid. And I'm hoping it's great. But I don't know if staying the course is necessarily the best thing for the movie.
Well, but when you say that you don't know if staying the course is the best thing for the movie, you're not talking about Disney Plus. You're talking about pushing the release date into 2022.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think now whether it's day and date with HBO Max or premium access with Disney Plus, where you pay $30, they're leaving hundreds of millions of dollars on the table with these movies. I mean, Black Widow proved that. Okay, you make 60 million or even $100 million through Premier Access, maybe. But even with global box office the way it is, your movie's going to make 400, 500, $600 million? I mean, maybe if you get closer to 600 million, you can say, oh, we did okay. But not with the 13 years of where the MCU has taken us. I mean, these are movies that are, even Ant-Man makes almost $600 million. And you're leaving money on the table no matter what. I think it's a mistake. They should have just pushed all these movies further.
So do you think that every movie in 2021 should get pushed to 2022?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
That creates a lot of problems.
No movies in 2020.
I know. I know. But we've got all of these movies that are No Time to Die is the most expensive James Bond movie ever made. There is absolutely no way in this day and age it can make its money back. It cannot. And when they release it, if they're going to release it and stick to the course, you know, MI6, which is a James Bond fan site, I did an analysis of this. They did one, but I contributed, used my own thoughts on my own show. But they pointed out that a movie like No Time to Die has to make now, even with interest payments, over $900 million to break even. It's never going to do that. Never. And I think that it's a big mistake to release that film now in this day and age. Same with a movie like Dune. You know, they're going to go day and date. And if you don't have people, I mean, they might have to do this, but they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. And they're like backed into a position where they have to do it now. So these studios are racking up gigantic amounts of red ink on their balance sheets. And I don't know if at the end of the year they're going to be like, well, that was smart.
Yeah, it's tough too, because the longer you delay, you're creating complications for your industry later on.
Yep.
You are racking up interest on owed money. It's a tough scenario. I mean, I just know, like, I do think it is absolutely the right move to keep it theatrical only, because you're going to recoup more of your money that way than if you try to do a premium Disney Plus access thing. But should they have pushed it even further back into the next year? I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's hard, but then you have to start weighing it out. Does the complications of moving it off again cost us more money in the long run than the money we're going to lose by putting it out right now? And it becomes like a Sophie's choice of suckage. Like, it's like there's no good answer here for this. All I know is that I am personally very excited to see this movie, and I'm very excited that I'm going to see it this weekend. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this move by Disney, saying that they are staying the course and they're going to keep Shang-Chi a theatrical exclusive only movie on the first one for Disney under the new 45-day window agreements? What do you guys think about this? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.